Hello and welcome to Landing More Sales, making online marketing work for you. I am Dave Meyer with BusyWeb, and I have Tracy Ford here with me as well. Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Tracy's going to talk about marketing formulas for your success. We're going to take about 45 minutes apiece. And if you've not done one of these Twin West webinars before, this is an interesting and fun way for you to interact and still be available while not having to go all the way into the Twin West offices. I'm going to go through a couple of things on how you can ask questions during the event. And if you received the email and you logged in on this page, you'll see that there's a broadcast window that shows the video right here. So if you're viewing that video from this page, the page that you clicked on from your email, there's one more step that you may wish to take if you would like to ask us questions. Number one, above the embedded video, says view it on our Google Plus page to stream the video and take advantage of the Q&A tool. So if you click on this Google Plus link, it's going to take you to a new page, and on that new page is an embedded video. So it'll say Q&A and live, and right here you just click on the play button. You do need to be logged into Google Plus in order to do this. If you have a Gmail account, you probably have that. I'm just going to pause for a second so that I can mute, because otherwise you're going to hear me twice. If you would like. And there I am. And then you'll notice on the lower right, there's a little green click or a little green button that you can click that says ask a new question. And if you click that button and, for example, ask a question. Ooh, I'm good at typing today. Here, that question will pop up and we will be notified during the event that you've asked that question. We'll be able to take your questions live, and we're going to pause at a few spots during the event in order to do that. At the very least, we're going to pause in between Tracy and myself, and as soon as Tracy's done talking, to go through and ask those questions. It's going to be a really fun and informative event today. We're going to talk about how to land sales again and how to use marketing formulas to ensure your sales and marketing success. And so we're going to get right into the details and get rolling. Again, as a reminder for folks that are just logging in, and we have a bunch of folks just getting on right now, if you click from the embedded page, if you're watching in this window, go up to number 1 above that window and click the Google Plus link. That's going to take you to a page that looks like this, and you can ask us questions by clicking on the green Ask a New Question button down below. If you do have questions, we'll have our contact phone number at the bottom of the slides, and you can dial us in to ask a question or to get technical support during the event. Let's get jumping, and we're going to talk first about landing more sales. I am Dave Meyer, the president of BusyWeb. Here's how to get a hold of me and how to connect with us at BusyWeb. You can either email me at Dave or at dave.meyer@busyweb, facebook.com/busyweb, or tweet us at BusyWeb or at Dave1Meyer if you want to go directly to me. I mentioned the phone number that you can dial for support and help. That's 612-4BUSY-O or 612-424-9990. And so go ahead and get a hold of us if you do have things. If you do have questions that you'd like to have us answer, however, go through that Q&A tool that I demoed just a moment ago. As a reminder, if you happen to step away from your computer, you can rewind the event because everything up to the actual moment is recorded and available in perpetuity on Google, on YouTube. So if you go back and if you missed something, feel free to jog back or to replay, because you'll want to absorb all of our brilliance, I'm sure. All right, let's get right into it. First, talk just a second about who BusyWeb is and what we do, and Tracy's going to give the same during her event. BusyWeb is an online marketing agency focusing on WordPress web design and online marketing. Online marketing includes email marketing, social media marketing on things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, and Google AdWords, copywriting and editing, and more. So if you need help for your business to get yourself online and to get your marketing funnel working, please give us a call. I'm also here as a representative of Constant Contact, and Constant Contact is co-sponsoring this event with us today. You can grow your business with Constant Contact because while it started out as an one thing email marketing tool, you now can do, in addition to newsletters and announcements, offers and promotions, doing coupons and specials via Facebook and other places, feedback and surveys, get details on how your business is doing and how you can grow more, and of course, events and registrations. And you're familiar with the events and registrations tool if you responded to this event, and I'm hoping you did because you're here. So that's what Constant Contact can do for you. For my money, it's one of the best dollars you can spend in online marketing. For as little as 40 bucks a month, you can get all of those tools for everything that you'll need to do for up to 500 people. Let's talk about our agenda for today. I'm going to talk about landing more sales. I'm going to give you a marketing overview, basically what marketing and specifically online marketing can and should do for you and your business. And then we're going to go into website basics. And then we're going to talk about how to increase email open rates, which is one of the most important things you can do. With all of the stuff and all the glitz and glimmer of social media and websites today, a lot of folks forget that for businesses, email is still one of the most effective tools to continue to reach out and engage people that you already know or people that have happened upon you and want to start working with you or know more. Tracy's going to talk about marketing formulas to grow your business, and she's going to go into a number of things that BusyWeb has used for years that have made a tremendous difference to our business, and I'm so delighted that Tracy's able to join us today. All right, let's get down to business with marketing. So really, marketing for us has changed. Back in the day, marketing started as a broadcast as much as you possibly can in the hopes that something will fall on fertile ground. So you used to send out to as many people as possible to find the people that would work for you or work with you, and then you tried to convert them and then perhaps keep them. And so it was always an ongoing and never-ending battle to reach as many people as humanly possible. And while that's still viable, marketing now is kind of turned on its head. You're starting by keeping the people that you already know and love, and then you're going to convert them again to do more for you and let them share so that they can reach out and help you find your new customers through referral-based marketing. With online marketing and especially social media, it's also called social networking. And so if social networking is doing its job for you, the people and the things that you do are shared across the networks that you know and that other people are engaged with. And so if you have a customer that is just delighted with you and that's on Facebook, if you give them an opportunity to share on Facebook who you are and what you do and the fact that they endorse you and they loved your products and services, that's going to turn into additional business for you. And really in the day-to-day world, what you do as a small business owner is provide a wow experience. When you provide that amazing experience and you dig in and you really show people what you can do and you provide that experience like no other company can do, you're going to also entice them to stay in touch. You're going to give them a sign up for our newsletter, or tell them to follow you on Facebook and connect out with you. And we'll talk about our formula for engage, inform, capture, and convert in a little bit. But once you get them to stay in touch, then you're going to engage them on another level to help educate them on what's important to them for you, what they can do with you, and how they can grow their business by working with you. And that's going to lead that engagement to getting your business and getting people into your business more and more. So that can all by itself provide a virtuous circle of engagement. And the more you provide that wow experience, the more they stay in touch and the more folks hear more about what you can do, they're going to keep coming back to your business. But here's what I've already talked about a little bit, the fact that engagement also drives social visibility. People can share you on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. They can reach out and they can bring more people to you. And that social visibility is going to drive new prospects to your door and then bring more clients into your funnel. So as you can see, this is less about trying to broadcast to as many people as possible and more about trying to capture and keep the clients you already have, keep them engaged, keep them informed, and give them an opportunity to help you with your marketing. Let's take a second, and I'm going to let you do a quick marketing exercise. Write down one wow experience that you can deliver right now. For folks that are listening online, you can go ahead and click the pause button if you'd like, because I don't want to waste all of our time by just sitting here silent, but write down one wow experience that you can deliver right now. And then write down one way that you can offer value to your members or to your customers that no one else can. And also write down one way you can engage them by delivering on the promise that you make when you're connecting with them. An old marketing adage is that people that sell drill bits don't really sell drill bits, they sell holes. What's the hole that you fill for your clients? What's the way that you reach out and connect and really meet people's needs? We'll talk about this in a moment on website basics, but you're not really trying to get people to trust you as much as you're trying to share with them how you can meet their needs at every turn. No one cares if you've been in business for 20 years, or if you're a really nice person, or if your puppy's name is Max. What they care about is, can you fix what they need from you? So here's what you need to do on your website. Websites, of course, are one of the most important things that you can do in your online marketing. So I wanted to spend a few minutes on that. But your website truly is the hub of everything that you do. It's where people look for you first. It's where you can incorporate your social media. And BusyWeb actually powers our clients' websites to the extent that when you publish to your BusyWeb powered website, your website takes care of posting content to your social media networks. So if you click update on your website updates Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and more, so that you can focus on the content that drives the business to your business and less on chasing yourself all over the web. You do need to pay attention to SEO, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. That's search engine optimization, or the art of getting found when people search for you on search engines. And then you can also use contact forms to build your marketing list. What we'll talk about in a moment are calls to action, the fact that you want to tell people in a dedicated, easy to follow way what they need to do next. As people browse the web, as people navigate through social networks, or as people browse your email, the one thing that we don't do enough is tell them what we expect them to do. We're engaging, we're delightful, we're helpful, but we don't tell them what to take as that next step nearly enough. So one thing that your website needs to do in addition to all of the above is make sure that it's mobile responsive. I'll talk more about mobile in a few slides, but mobile websites automatically reconfigure based on the look of your website and based on the device that it's being browsed on. So it looks different on a phone than it does on a computer, and it looks different on a tablet than it does on either of the two. What you need to do for that, and why this is really urgently important now, is as of April 21st, Google stopped showing non-mobile friendly sites in search results. So if someone's searching on their iPhone about something that your business could get found for, you simply won't show up anymore if your website doesn't look good on a mobile device. You can test that right now on your phone by opening up your phone and looking at your site. If you have to pinch and zoom in order to see things, if you don't have a clickable phone number on that first screen, and if you don't have images labeled for slow loading devices, you're in danger of not showing up on Google. So you have a mobile responsive website, you have content, and you have easy calls to action. The other thing that you have that is incredibly powerful is loyal and happy customers. You serve an excellent experience, and you have interesting and important things to say. So don't forget that you have something that a lot of the bigger businesses don't really have. They're not as personal or personable as your business can be. You directly connect with your customers and your clients. And so as you think about content for your website, here's what you should think as far as ratios on what to do. Now, everything that I do inside of our marketing strategies for BusyWeb's clients follow along this line of engage, inform, capture, and convert. So as you think about this, I'll relay this back down, but here's the ratios that you need to do those four things in as we move forward. The first 50%, or about half of everything that you do, is designed to get likes, shares, and comments. You want to entertain, you want to engage people, invite their conversation, and really post things that are going to get comments and get people to share your content. This is the first 50%. What do you do after you've caught their attention by engaging them? Well, then you're going to inform and prove that you know what you're talking about and that you can be a helpful resource for them in your chosen field. So industry information, if you're a subscriber to a newsletter that your clients wouldn't have access to, if you browse a number of different websites, or if you browse the news, and if you can call that down as to what's important for your customers and provide that helpful, informative information, that's the other 30% of what you should be doing. And then finally, what's that last 20%? Information about your business. Now, this is calls to action, getting them to take that next step. 20% of what you're doing should be telling them what to do next. Not necessarily to buy now, although that can be part of the conversation. If people ask me for a rule of thumb on how often they should do a buy now or a special or a deal, I tell them about half of that. So about 1 in 10 or 10% of your posts can and should be directed towards a physical purchase decision. And for some businesses, you'd never post that because it's more of a investigative role when people are looking for you and they're trying to reach more information, or they're trying to find more information about your business. So first 50% is to get likes, shares, and comments. Second 30%, useful and informative info. And the last 20% is information about your business. To round it up into a different framework, you're going to want to engage, inform, capture their information so that you can convert them into a customer. We talked about this, about your business information with the calls to action. In order to land a sale, you have to have effective calls to action. Calls to action are clear and simple, and they direct you right to what you want them to do. It needs to not only say, do this, click here, follow us, subscribe today, buy now, but it needs to do that in a way that's clear and has both graphics and text, because sometimes, especially on mobile devices, people may have their browser images turned off. And so you need to be able to have your website be browsable regardless of whether people are on a fast network or if they're stuck in the middle of nowhere somewhere where they don't have great cell service. So graphics and text. And if you're looking for an easy rule of thumb on how often to include a call to action, try 3 times per page. Right at the top, around the middle after they're already engaged in what they're reading, and right down at the bottom if they've already gotten all the way through your content, they're going to want to take that next step, so make sure to give them that option there. Examples, of course, buy now, call today. Any street sign that you see is an easy example of a call to action because it tells people what to do and what you expect. I'm going to pause for just a moment and see if there's any questions. We don't have any questions right now, so that's wonderful. If you do have a question, we'd love to get your input and feedback. And so again, if you're browsing live from the event on the BusyWeb homepage, if you're watching it right in here, you can click on this Google Plus link right above if you want to ask us additional questions. What this link is going to take you to is a page that looks like this. And if you're logged into Google, you can simply click the green Ask a New Question button, and you'll be able to ask us questions. We're going to stop a couple more times during this event to make sure that we're answering your questions, and we'll leave about 10 minutes at the end to gather those questions for you. And so if you do have questions, think of them now and be ready to enter them in. All right, so we've gotten you through the website and the basics of online marketing. Now let's talk about how to increase your open rates on your emails. Email is one of the big things that customers of BusyWeb tend to overlook because we think about it as spam, or we think about it as something that we just have to deal with every day. What we miss and what we tend to forget is that there's a reason that a lot of people send emails, because it just works. If you're going to drive action with your campaigns, with your emails, email is a great way to do that. So if you want a campaign that drives results, here are some rules of thumb and here are some different ways that you can reach out. Now, there's a bunch of different types of campaigns that you can offer, whether it's a newsletter or announcement, the typical, click here to subscribe to my email newsletter, the stuff that you would post. BusyWeb does this with our clients where we'll actually encourage them to write at least one post on their website each month or each week. And then once a month, we send out a digest of the articles that they've published on their website. And that's a newsletter. Or you can do a special offer or a deal. Again, this is built right into Constant Contact, so it makes it super easy. And it's actually a great way to save some money because it lets you do some marketing things that you would otherwise have to pay Facebook for right through Facebook. And then you can also do surveys and polls. So finding out what people think, what they're most interested in, or how you can better serve your existing customers is a great way to deepen your relationships with them, as well as event invites and updates. And again, if you've tuned into today's event, you're already familiar with the event invite and updates feature in Constant Contact because that's how BusyWeb drives our invites as well as the Twin West Chamber of Commerce. So when you're looking at campaigns, you also need to think about the goals of your campaigns. Goals are the overarching ways or things that you need to accomplish in your business. It might be to reach new customers, to drive repeat business, to nurture leads or grow new relationships, to engage people with customers or referral partners, and of course, to increase sales and revenue. So if you have those down as your goals, you're going to need to get more specific with objectives on what you need to do inside of each of those goals in order to achieve them. So that might be drive sales this month, deliver content to business leads, or fill foursomes for a golf tournament that you're trying to drive and get more connections with. So goals larger and the general business need, and then objectives are how you're going to achieve them. When you're thinking about what a good objective is, here's some questions to ask. Will achieving this objective help my business grow? Is it attainable? And how will you measure it or your progress towards it? The old SMART adage. Is it specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based? That's what a good objective should do for your business. So as we think about this, here's what we need to do to get started. All of these need to happen, and don't freak out as you look at this, but this is an overview of where we're going to go from here. So either you need to get found and get discovered, engage and nurture your relationships, drive action with your campaigns, or make some analytics and come up with decision-making tools. So these are all the tools that you can do underneath these main 4 objectives or needs for business marketing. And so if you're trying to get found, you want to focus on mobile, search and SEO, social media, and listings. We don't talk about these things, but I actually have busy webinars around each one of these. And so if you're interested, be sure to look back through our library at busyweb.com/events. If you want to engage and nurture relationships, you want to do engagement marketing by reaching out, touching base with people, giving them a new way to touch base with you, or by being very interesting and informative, providing helpful and handy tips, providing content that's informative or interesting, and posting videos or images that are designed to engage and grab people's attention. You can grow your lists, you can do loyalty programs. You do need to think about permission-based marketing. Don't try to market to people by buying a massive list and trying to email the heck out of it, because you're going to alienate people and you're probably running afoul of the canned spam regulations inside of the FCC. What that basically means is that Congress set in place about 10 years ago already ways that you can't engage with people because it's considered spam, and you can run afoul of the law and get fined up to $10,000 per email if you do this wrong. And again, you can, but I've never seen it happen. In general, however, the most likely thing that would happen is you would alienate massive amounts of people by not meeting the objectives or needs and not really writing your content to match the people that you're trying to reach. So if you hit something, and that's where spam gets a bad name, or where email becomes spam, is if it's not targeted, if it doesn't reach out to the right people, and if it's not relevant to their needs. And campaigns that drive action, we talked about the big four things already, but whether you're trying to drive a newsletter, have a survey, run an offer, or schedule an event, make sure that you're doing that in a way that's engaging and informative. And then be sure to ask and look through the analytics. And that's included in both websites through Google Analytics, or on the back end of Facebook through Facebook Insights, or certainly inside of Constant Contact, where you can see open rates, click-throughs, and find out what the most important or engaging articles were in order to know what you're doing and if what you're doing is working well. So let's go through a few tips as we drive forward. First, start where you are. When you're driving your content, when you're building your online marketing, one of the things that you need to be concerned about is not getting overwhelmed with the prospect of having a fully formed online marketing system right from the get-go. You already have a number of things that work for you, and so start with that and then add one or two more things and build them with proper systems so that you don't need to get a fully featured 747 up and running from minute one. And instead, you can just add new things onto your marketing and crawl before you walk, before you run your marathon. So maybe you have some emails, you have a website, and you have a Facebook page. Next step, maybe you'll add Twitter, and then you can add on a full-featured blog to your website. Maybe you'll want to do a coupon or an offer to drive people in and to engage them better. And then you'll want to drive out and get more mobile content, and maybe a mobile email, a QR code, or a text or an SMS-based marketing tool. Make sure that you're asking people and driving things through to get events going and other ways to continue to engage, inform, capture, and convert your clients, and schedule this so that it works well. And then once you know what is working, you can continue to branch out, and maybe you'll add Pinterest and Google Plus and LinkedIn, and then you've got all of these things running and going, and you're not really doing much more than when you started from square one. Because if you build this right, you can build it so that your website does most of the heavy lifting for you and populates your Constant Contact emails or your email marketing system, and that everything runs more or less on autopilot, which frees up your time to engage with clients or prospects one-on-one through direct touch bases over social networks or over email. So if you've got a good plan running, the other thing that you should do next is segmenting your list. Now, this might seem complicated if you just have a list of 300 or 400 people, but it's easier than you think. You really have the content that already is going to help you guide where you need to reach out. And if you're looking, you can see perhaps the most obvious people would be business news networks, networking partners, maybe referral partners, people that refer business to you on a regular basis, maybe your brand new customers, community influencers, or of course, your VIPs, or the people that go back to your business over and over again. Just think about who those people are and start sending out different messages. For your VIPs, you might want to have a special offer just for your VIPs. The key there is to make it clear that that's what you're doing and to mean it. Don't send out a message to everyone on your entire list saying you're our valued VIP and we're only making this available to 5 people. If you're sending it out to 500, you need to be clear on that, and you need to be concise in how you're helping or who you're reaching out to. So make sure that you're segmenting your list and thinking about that. One thing that it's really fun inside of email marketing is that creating and culling those lists is actually very simple to do. And so don't be afraid to start digging in on that after you've created your online marketing system. Review your content and your headers, and this is to increase your open rates. So if you're thinking about what you view on a regular basis, you need to think about how all of these things are going to work. So the 2-2-2 rule for this is that inside of the first 2 seconds, you need to be clear. It needs to be clear inside of your subject line why people should care. With the first 2 words inside of that email, you need to engage and capture their attention and tell them ideally what they should be doing. And that leads into the last 2. They need to know why they should care today. So 2 seconds worth of content, 2 words need to relay that message, and you need to tell them what to do today inside of your subject lines. I'm going to step aside from the content for just a minute here to also say that you need to make sure that your messages come from a reputable sounding source. So if you have your messages come from sales or marketing or emails at yourbusiness.com, that's going to have a much lower open rate than your name might. And if people are listening or if they're connecting, use some sort of a message or some sort of a subject line that ties in with your business for sure. It's the difference between March newsletter, or in this case, July newsletter, and sending out something that says, we need 3 hammers next Tuesday to help raise our house for Habitat for Humanity. Much more engaging, much clearer, and is actually going to get you a response, even if they don't open that email. If they're already engaged with you and if they're already excited about working with you, if they're already Habitat for Humanity fans or they've already done things, if they know that next Tuesday they're available and they can grab that hammer and start helping, they're much more likely to do so, and certainly much more likely to do so than reading through the July newsletter that might just bore them to tears. So think about that and be action-oriented, and you'll have much better results with your emails. As far as your content and your headers, again, the 50-30-20 rule is going to be important. About half of what you need to do should be designed to get likes, shares, and comments. Be entertaining. Be that party host at a cocktail party that engages people in conversation. These are witty anecdotes. These are helpful things that you find informative or interesting. If you're involved in a networking group, such as the Twin West business networking groups, you don't share what people need to do or the fact that you have 50% off for the next month. What you share is something that's an interesting anecdote or something that people that are interested or likely candidates for your business, or even better, for referring your business, would need to know in order to step forward. So again, it's the difference between at our graphics company, we have a buy one, get one logo free for the next 15 minutes versus, did you know that in order to have effective PowerPoint campaigns, you have to have 30-point text and only have 5 or 10 words maximum per slide in order to be engaging. So that's something that's interesting and leads people to know that you're an expert and lets them know what they can do with you. So tell them exactly what you're looking for, what they need to do, and what next steps need to be in order to grow that business for you. Be as referable as possible. And then, of course, useful and informative information. Show them that you're not only interesting, but you also have a depth of knowledge, and then tell them what they can do next with that call to action. As we look up next, review that content. You're going to want to produce great and relevant content, including what's new, what advice people have been asking you about. If you have a frequently asked questions page on your website, you have as many good posts on your social networks as you have FAQs. Each one of those can be broken out separately, and you can go in a little bit deeper on blog posts or on Facebook posts or anything else. People are already asking it, and so make sure that you're using that content so that you can reach out to as many people as possible. Also think about what you have access to that they don't. Again, if you're trying to be informative, you probably subscribe to some community newsletters or to some content. You have access to things that your customers simply don't. You are an expert because you know more than the people buying from you about what you do. So make sure that you share that and that you relay that information. You don't have to give away the whole farm or share something that would cut into your business, but give them enough to prove that you know what you're talking about and that they need to talk to you to do more. Also think about what content you can curate or other things that you find across the web. So if you see amazing or wonderful posts in one of the places that you follow, go ahead and share that, or retweet content, or share Facebook posts to your page fans so that people know, again, you are the helpful resource for what you do, And if people need information about what you provide, they're going to go to you first. When you're thinking about how much is enough, really less is more, and you want to focus, because 80% of people now report that they mostly read their emails on mobile devices. We check our email when we're sitting in a traffic jam, or when we're waiting in line for lunch, or if we're just in between meetings. And so if you're thinking about that, you have to be willing and interesting enough to drive content within the flip of a thumb in order to not get deleted. There are two things that people ask themselves when they're reviewing your content. Really, they're going to say, are they going to read it? Are they going to delete it? Or are they going to defer it? And I say that even though there's those three options, a defer is really a more polite never. They're probably not going to open that message up if they don't open it right then, because we all get a lot of email in our day-to-day lives. And so if you're not engaging enough to have people read it right now, the likelihood that they're ever going to read it just drops down significantly. So make sure that you think about that as you're driving your content. We talked about this a little bit, but of course, automate whatever you can. You can set up a welcome or an update email when people sign up for your newsletter, or when people attend your event. You can send them a series of messages that say, thank you so much for attending our event. We hope you'll like this. Here's a white paper that you might be interested in, and here's how to take the next step. Use your online tools to help automate everything that you can so that people will continue to reach out with you, and to let people automatically and naturally kind of bubble up as the most likely candidates for your business, and give you an idea of where your sales staff should focus. If you have someone that's clicked through on all three of the follow-up emails, or if they've subscribed, or they've taken a next step, or if they've downloaded a document, they're much more engaged than someone that's never opened one of your emails after you sent it to them. So that's a great place to start in order to reach out to those folks. You can also pre-schedule email campaigns, and this also goes for social media and blog posting campaigns. So you can set things up and post one thing a week by just going in every month and updating your content. So if you have a half day that you can spend once a month, you could save yourself that time for the rest of the month. Or if you go in once a week, you could publish 3 posts on your Facebook account over that entire week, maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, all from that one day that you spend that little bit of time. So think about that and schedule things out. You can use scheduling tools like Hootsuite or MarketMe Suite. The thing to make sure that you do, however, is to listen and respond. So visit your Facebook page, your online marketing campaigns, look at your click-through rates, and make sure that you're engaging and doing more of what's working, and revisiting and perhaps adjusting what's not. If you make a post, or if you send out an email newsletter and you don't get anyone that clicks through on anything in that event or in that email, that's probably telling you something. Either there's something wrong with timing, there's something wrong with the content, or that just simply wasn't all that interesting to begin with. So think about that, be mindful of it, and always try to continually improve. The other thing is repurpose everything. For the Boys and Girls Club, they have a news item that they posted to their website. Well, they reposted that via their RSS feed. They put that out on their email newsletter. They posted it on their Facebook page. Actually, this is their Twitter account. And then they posted it on Facebook. So everything can be repurposed. And the good news is that most of this can be done automatically. You need to schedule these things out for maximum results. And so as you think about this, perhaps the key is not to become a one-trick pony in what you do. So don't always just post quotes, because anyone can look up quotes on Google and find anything that they would need. But Monday mornings, you might want to post something that gets people revved up and a member benefit. Or Tuesday, post a did you know or a check out these tips kind of thing. Make sure that your content varies and that the subject matters vary over the course of the week. And then also make sure to measure that to see which things get you the best results. And then on Friday, perhaps post something fun Realize that not that many people tend to check emails on Fridays, but it might be different for you and your business, because if you serve folks that work during the weekend, or folks that all of a sudden the only time they're in front of their computers is on the weekend, then they might be more interested and more engaged than if you sent something out on Monday. After you've done things all week long, you might want to have a glass of wine to celebrate, and make sure that you're putting all that out and reward yourself for doing a great job. But again, you can do all of these posts once every Friday afternoon, for example, and schedule out the entire next week. If you want to go one step better, you could post out an entire month's worth of content and think about this. I like color coding our content. And so here's what you might want to do: Monday motivations and posting things out on the 2 networks that matter most for that. News for spring on the first Wednesday, and an email newsletter on the last Wednesday of the month. New product announcements on the second Friday. Whatever's going to work for you, make sure that you're thinking about it at least and being intentional in your marketing. So if you're not measuring, really, you're not marketing. So make sure that you look at all of your content and keep up with how things are being used and what's happening with them. So really, your email statistics or your bounce rates, your Google Analytics, what's happening on your website, how many people are clicking, looking through. With Facebook and with some of the other tools, you can tell exactly who is showing up. With Google Analytics, you can see what types of devices are visiting your site most often, so that if you see it right around 3 p.m. on Thursdays, mostly iPhones are logging in and connecting with your content. You should probably have something that's optimized for that device at that time going out. So this all makes it easy to connect out and build your business. One last word before I kick over to questions and answers, and then we let Tracy tell you a little bit more about marketing analytics and some basics of how to use different numbers to drive your business. Don't forget about mobile. As a matter of fact, 91% of American adults own a cell phone. Recent thing came out that I thought was really interesting. In the world, there's almost a little over 1.5 billion people are on Facebook, 1.6 they say. About 1.4 billion people own a toothbrush. So more people are on Facebook than own a toothbrush. More people on mobile devices than either of those things. So know what you're doing, and one of the keys there is probably, it's a good thing that we're talking to each other on phones versus face-to-face, if not that many people even have a toothbrush. The average person looks at their phone 150 times a day, and if your content isn't optimized for that device, you're going to lose people. Mobile drives business. It's how customers are finding you, reading your messages, and making those purchase decisions. And if you're not there, and if you're not using content designed for mobile, 80% of users delete email that doesn't look good on their mobile devices, and 30% of users unsubscribe from email lists after receiving email that doesn't look good on their mobile device. And if you think about it, if you see something that just doesn't impress you, you're more likely to unsubscribe right away. So make sure that you're taking that step and designing everything that you do to be consumed where people are spending most of their time, and that's now on mobile devices. In summary, for me, I'm just going to remind you that, again, BusyWeb does web design. We do web hosting. So if you have an online marketing website that's built in WordPress in particular, we can help you by giving you more tools, and we install for our mobile or for our web hosted clients a tool that will allow you to auto post your content across all of your social networks. And we do online marketing, including, and of course, Constant Contact, to let you reach out, and whether you need to grow your leads for your business, deepen existing relationships for your customers, optimize the experience or the workflow of your business, or just generate more content through promotional services, you can drive all of that with BusyWeb and let us help you generate buzz without getting stung. Be sure to join us every Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're talking about something that I'm super excited about. If you have kids, or if you have friends that have kids or family, share this content with them. Share this next one with them because we're talking about cyberbullying. We have a BCA, a Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions in Minnesota officer coming in to talk about cyberbullying and some ways that you can combat it. And that's just important and urgent for all kids today. So I would hope you would attend. We also have a bunch of in-person webinars and seminars coming up. Matter of fact, we are going to the South Metro for Campaigns That Drive Action, events and registration. And I have another webinar on events and registration that day as well. And then I hope you'll join me next or this coming Thursday, day after tomorrow, for New Business Minnesota's event on projecting your image. This is going to be a great event. It's hosted, it's going to be down in Bloomington, and it's given through New Business Minnesota, which connects with 15,000 new businesses every month. And so we're expecting a fantastic turnout. I'm going to be out there talking about how you can project the image that you need to in order to drive the business you need to your company. All right, so one last thing, I've got an offer for everyone. If you go to busyweb.com/buzz, please do fill that out and fill out the form there. You can enter in your website, your competitor's website, and a keyword that you'd like to be found for. And our tool will show you what you're doing well, what your competitors are doing well, how you're beating your competitors down, and what they're doing better than you. So take a look at that. And if you would like to request an in-depth marketing analysis, we charge $200 for that. And that's you can fill out the form that's on the bottom part of that. But the free 17-page optimization analysis report is available for free to you today at busyweb.com/buzz. I'm going to stop 1 second to see if we have any questions. Doesn't look like we do. So as a reminder, again, if you're viewing from this event, we'd love to have you click. If you're viewing inside of this embedded video, go under number 1 above and click on the Google Plus page to open up this page, and then click the green Ask a New Question button if you do have a question for either Tracy or myself. And without further ado, I'd like to give you to Tracy. Tracy is an action coach, and they're actually a neighbor of ours and longtime clients and coaches of ours, actually. Tracy and I started up together 2010, I believe.
5 years
when we
ago
were
or
working.
so.
Yes, and so Tracy has been absolutely fantastic, and they've got something really special going with their group. They coach over 7,400 hours so far, and 1,650 of those have been public speaking, and they are the most award-winning firm in North America as far as the Action Coach Business Excellence Awards have gone. And my favorite stat about Action Coach Metro North is in 2014, the average profit increase for their clients was an astonishing 37%. So Tracy, welcome. And I'm going to switch over to your presentation here. And let's get going for you. All right, without further ado, welcome Tracy.
Thank you, Dave. Just want to let everyone know, please put in any questions that you have as we go along. And I would like everyone to pull out a piece of paper and take notes, because you want to take advantage of some of this information. The first thing I'm going to get into here is I'm going to talk about who is your ideal client. The more you know who your ideal client, your target market, the better you'll be able to communicate with them. So I want you to take just a minute or so here, and I want you to draw this out on your clean sheet of paper. So we've got this box with a plus in the middle, and on the bottom we've got time, and then on the side here we've got cash. This is just a real good way to really understand who your clients are. We look at the bottom corner, we're going to write cash poor, time poor. Then we're going to move up to the next box, and we've got the cash rich, time poor quadrant. Moving over to the right, we've got the cash rich, time rich. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got cash poor, time rich. So I'm sure you're all wondering, what in the world is this woman talking about? Well, here's the thing. The first thing to closing more sales is that you need to really understand who you're talking to. So we want to look at who your clients are and make some general observations about them. So when I'm looking at the cash poor, time poor, box, I want you to think of who do you think would fit in that box. Look at your customers, look at it, people around you, and I'm not talking about a specific person, you know, but a type of person. So typically when I look at a cash poor, time poor client, I'm looking probably at a single parent. So there's only one income in the household. So there's not a lot of cash. And they're time poor because they're a parent and they're a single parent. So there's only one parent to care for the kids. So they don't have a lot of cash and they don't have a lot of time. Next, we move up and we look at the cash rich, time poor. So looking at the cash rich, time poor quadrant, I normally picture a dual income household. So there's two parents that are working and they have kids who are in activities, so that eats up their time. So they have cash, but they don't have a lot of time. Then we move over to the cash rich, time rich. So they have a lot of cash, they have a lot of time. Typically, I think executive households is a really good place for this one. They're typically, you know, pulling in a six-figure income. Only one of them is working outside the home so that the other one has time to do whatever else they need at home. So they have more time than others and they have more cash. This could also be a retired person in this place that has actually set themselves up well. And then if we go down to the cash poor, time rich. So a lot of times what will happen is the unemployed will fall here. So they don't have a lot of cash and they don't have, and they do have a lot of time. Also, it could be a student. So again, they don't have a lot of cash, but they have time. Unfortunately, retired people can also fall into this spot here. They have not a lot of cash, but they have a lot of time. So it just really depends with the retired community, how they actually set themselves up. So I want to talk a little bit about our previous business, which was Get Cookin'. We were a make and take meal location, 8-9 years ago. That was a really big thing. And I want to let you know what happened. So this was a personal learning that we had that I think you guys can really understand. When we look at what was going on in Get Cookin', we actually had two different locations. We had one in Coon Rapids and we had one in Maple Grove. And when we look at that, we had the exact same business. Everything that we did in each location was the same. We had the same recipes, the same everything. And we were really successful in Coon Rapids. Then when I look at Maple Grove, we were struggling over there. So I want to kind of give you the insight of really what was going on. So in Coon Rapids, our target market were people that were probably cash medium, but they were definitely time poor. Both of the parents were working. They had kids. They were in activities. So I communicated really well to those people. And the reason I communicated so well with those people is because I was in that box myself. So I had some cash. I was a business owner. I was doing well over in Coon Rapids. And I was working a ton of hours and I'm a parent. So I was time poor. So any kind of marketing or message that I was putting out anywhere in the community, whether it was on my website, my emails, or anything, I was always talking about saving people more time. I was not selling food or meals. I was selling time. Then what we did is we opened up a second location over in Maple Grove, and it was not happening. For every 50 people we got to respond to something over in Coon Rapids, I might get 5 in Maple Grove. It was so painful. And the reason is I had a completely different target market in Maple Grove. Those people were right next door. They were the cash rich, time rich people. My clients over in Maple Grove were worried about getting home by 3 o'clock to let the nanny go. They had cash, they had time. They didn't care if I was going to give them a coupon to have them rebook. So I really struggled for a little while to figure out how do I reach those people. And when I reached those people, what I had found out was that if I was giving them perceived value, what did that look like for them? For those people, what they really wanted is they wanted things that made them look good or feel good. So I had to communicate my marketing message completely different to the people in that area, because really what they wanted is they wanted to be the perfect mom. They wanted to be able to have home cooked meals on the table. They wanted that. They wanted to look good to their friends and their family and be a good mom. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to cook nowadays. I was really surprised when I opened this business and realized that I think my generation was the last generation that, really learned how to cook. So this was a way for them to do that. So once I changed my marketing message, I was able to go from losing a ton of money to break even to making a profit. Took me about 6 months, but I worked on it really hard, and that's what I did. So it really, really worked well. So I want to know, what box are your clients in? This is super important, because if you're not in the same boat, you might be making the same mistake that I made 9 years ago when I had no idea who my target market was in Maple Grove. I just kind of stumbled into it. So that's one of the lessons that I had learned through coaching. And I want to ask, what are the good boxes? Here's the deal. There is no bad boxes. If you look at Walmart, who does Walmart market to? The only people that Walmart markets to are the cash poor people. Does that mean they only have cash poor people that actually go to Walmart? No, they still have some time cash rich people that will shop at Walmart. The thing is they don't spend any money on those people. Because when we look at spending marketing dollars, that is our efforts to purchase a new client. So we're going to get some of those people, and they're just freebies. So I want you to go back. I want you to look at your customers, and I want you to figure out which 2 boxes that they fall into, because it's really important for you to be putting together all your messaging. Another thing that I want to talk about with these quadrants is, are you couponing or are you adding value? So over in Coon Rapids, I was always giving coupon. Here's $10 off if you sign up now, and this kind of stuff. Any advertising that I was doing, I was always giving a discount to get them in for first-time people. What I found was, the people in Maple Grove didn't care about that because they had enough money. So I really had to look at what was important to them. And I actually found a strategic partner down the road, and she actually had all my target market. She was in front of, 250 women, completely, the target market I was looking for. So I paired up with her. I actually brought her team into my place and actually had them go through the process of what a client was due. Now, she was a high-end salon in Maple Grove. So I was really learning about these people. And so what happened is the girls that came in, they made the meals, they took them home, they ate them, it was awesome. And then I gave them $25 gift cards to every single one of those people. And I gave them as many as they needed, and they gave them out to every single one of their clients. Why? What happened there? What happened was that the salon owner won, the stylist won, because guess what? They're showing their clients that they care about them because I gave them a gift card. So instead of doing a coupon, maybe you want to give a gift card to somebody, because if they're in the cash rich quadrant, that's going to make them feel special, and that's what they're looking for. So now I'm going to move on to our 5 ways to increase massive profits. So understanding your number of leads, that is where the cash quadrant, time quadrant comes into. Now, I know we all want more customers, right? And we all want more revenue, and we all want more profits. Well, guess what? You don't have any control over those 3 things. I know. You're going, what in the world am I doing on this webinar if I can't do any of that stuff? Well, what you can do is you have control over the things in blue. You have control over the number of leads. the conversion rate. You have control over your number of transactions, your average dollar sale, and your profit margin. So we want to work this formula. So the first thing that we do is we're looking at the number of leads. And so there's a couple different things that you can do to make sure that you're getting more leads. So making sure that you're communicating with your target market and their language and what's important. That's a very simple one. And we just want to get a 15% increase. So that means if you had 10 leads, getting a 15% increase there would be 1.5 more leads. So it's not a huge amount. So we're just looking at taking steps. We're not looking at climbing a mountain, okay? So if we increase our number of leads with a 15% increase, in this scenario, we go from 4,000 to 4,600. Then what we're going to do is we are going to times that by our conversion rate. So out of those people, how many actually buy from us? So strategies for looking at increasing your conversion rate. Number one thing, make sure you're testing and measuring it. You know, Dave talked about that earlier. If you're not measuring your conversion rate, you're going to think you're a lot better than what you probably really are. Sorry to tell you that truth, but typically we overestimate how well we're doing because, you know, we all want to do well. And what happens is you're going to get just a 10% increase just by measuring your conversion rate. And the reason that is if you're testing that and you're looking at your numbers and you keep saying that you haven't made a sale yet, guess what? You're just automatically going to try harder. So right there, you're going to get an increase. Another real simple way to increase your conversion rate is to put together some scripts or take some sales training. It's really going to help you out. So from here, we get a 28.75 with that 15% increase. So what do you think happens? We're going to multiply down, and now we have increased our number of customers already by 32%. Here's the deal, guys. Math, this kind of math is super, super, super fun. So I love doing this kind of math because you're going to see how astonishing it can change your business and change your life. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the number of transactions. So when we're looking at the number of transactions in your business, so in this case, it was 2. If we're going to get a 15% increase, what could we do to do that? So what we're going to do is we're going to keep in contact with them. So for sure, contacting them at least every 90 days, but probably more often. Dave has shared a whole bunch of different ways that you guys can keep in contact with your clients, not just every quarter, but daily, weekly, and monthly. So make sure that you're reaching out to them, because I'm going to tell you right now, most customers leave you not because of poor service or that sort of thing. The reason that they normally leave you is because they think you don't care, because they haven't heard anything from you since you sold them something. So we want to increase how many times they actually buy from us. Some other ways that we can do that is make sure that they know everything that you have to offer them. And another thing is consumables. So if you have a consumable product, they have to come back for more. Or if you have service contracts where you're servicing them on a monthly basis, that really helps as well. So we're going to go to 2.3 here. So just a little teeny increase, and then we're going to go to our average dollar sale. So this should be pretty easy for everyone to figure out, how do you increase your average dollar sale? Are you ready? Raise your prices. I know. It's hard to do. But have your prices increased? You need to make sure that you're raising your prices on a regular basis just to keep up with the expenses that you have to pay. That's just to stay even. But so raise your prices. Another thing is stop discounting. So that just goes right out of your pocket. So we want to make sure that we quit that. And then you guys should know this one as well. Every time you go out to eat, what happens? They ask you to buy more. So just ask, put together some packages. There's so many different things that we can do to increase your average dollar sale. It's unbelievable. So simple math, we're just going up $15. So what do you think that does to our revenue? Looking at your revenue, are you guys ready? Bam. Okay. You know what that is? That's a 75% increase. Do you guys want a 75% increase in your revenue? I know I do. Absolutely. So this is what you got to do. Then we're down to the profit margins. Okay, so we got to look at the profit margins. Unfortunately, we don't get to keep all the money that comes into our business. We have expenses. So another thing, we already talked about these two, was stop discounting and raising your prices. That's a 2-for-1. It hits both parts of this formula, which is super, super good. If you're in a business that has overtime, you can cut the overtime, okay? Be more productive within the time that you have. You can do that. Also, looking at your expenses, maybe you're paying too much in some areas of your expenses. So we're just going to tweak that a little bit. So again, we're going to go to 28.5. And then what happens? Bam, it's double. So I know these are not your numbers. I get that. But it doesn't matter. This is the math that I love. It will double. Whatever your numbers are, if you get a 15% increase in each one of these areas, no matter what, this is what's going to happen. You're going to double your profits. This is what we do every day, all day for our clients, is we help them work through this process. Every business is the same. Your labels might be a little bit different. Maybe, instead of calling it leads, you call them prospects. Maybe if you're in real estate, it's, you don't have a lot of transactions per customer, but maybe you're looking at that as referrals that you're getting from customers. So this is valid for every business on the face of the planet. So use it. I know it looks like a lot of stuff to do. So where do we start? The first place that we want to start with is we want to start with margins. And why do you think we want to start at margins? Well, here's the deal. If you don't know, if you are not tracking and measuring and knowing all of your financials, we don't want to start up at leads and put a whole bunch more business through your business and find out that you're not actually making a profit on what you're selling. So the first place we got to look at is we've got to look at margins, because we want to make sure if you've got holes in your bucket that we fill them first before we start flushing a whole bunch more stuff through there. So number one place. The next place is conversion rate. So why do we go to conversion rate next? We look at conversion rate because it is super easy and it's fast. It's cheap. We talked about it. Some sales scripts, some testing and measuring. Maybe we have to go a little bit further and do some sales training, but it's relatively inexpensive and it's pretty quick to do. So you can see that return on your investment right away. Next place we go is the average dollar sale. Again, why do we go there? Because it's easy and it doesn't cost money, typically. So that's what we want to look at. We want to always go for where we're going to get the biggest bang for our buck. Then we go to number of transactions. Number of transactions is fourth because depending on what your products or services are, it may take a while for them to come back. Okay. And then last but not least is the number of leads. And I know you're all probably really surprised because that's where most people focus on first is number of leads. They spend a lot of money there. And here's the deal. If they don't have a good conversion rate, they just blew that money. So we look at number of leads as one of the last things that we look at because it's very expensive typically compared to the other strategies. And it takes longer. It takes a lot of effort. So that's the last place that we look at. But here's the deal, guys. Once you're doing this, you need to be working on all these areas all the time because you always want to be refining and making things better. I hope that makes sense for everybody. So moving on to AAA. And I know you guys are probably going, what in the world is that now? So AAA, attitude, activity, and acumen. So you've been testing and measuring, right? We've talked a lot about that. Dave talked about it. And if you're not getting the results that you're looking for, you need to look at yourself or your salespeople on their activity or their attitude, their activity, and their acumen, because this is super important. So attitude is, do they have the right mindset? And I'm sorry, a lot of people have really bad attitudes about sales, and I'm one of them. I am one of them. So you want to make sure that you have the right attitude for sales. And when I look at that, you have to really understand that sales it's not a dirty word. And we've been taught that. What sales is helping someone else to purchase something that they need or something that's going to help their life be better. So we have to look at that attitude. Also, if you have a high dollar product or service and your salespeople don't have a lot of money, it is going to be harder for them to sell that product. So you have to do a lot of work with that on the attitude. The next thing that we look at, the activity. So if you're testing and measuring, looking at those different things, you're going to see if the activity is enough. Because if you're measuring it, you're going to see, how many meetings do you have to get a sale? And that will tell you how much activity you need to do. I can tell you in our own business, we do a lot of free events. We work with chambers all the time and other associations, and we do free events. We do free education. It really helps people to understand who we are and what we do, because we're all about education and accountability. So when we do that, if we have a room of 25, 30 people, guess what? I'm going to have 6 meetings. And out of those 6 meetings, I'm going to actually hold 4 of them. And out of those 4, I'm going to get 1.5 clients. It happens over and over and over and over. We've tested and measured it. We know the numbers, and it is what it is. So you guys need to be doing the same thing, because if there's not enough activity going on, then you're not going to be able to get the sale. Acumen. Acumen is talking about the skill set. So this is where, if you don't have the skill set, you're going to have to go get some training. So if you don't have the skill set on your product or service, you're going to have to learn more so that you can do better in the sales situation. Or maybe you have to do some work on sales training. Maybe you have to practice. So these are the 3 areas that you want to look at. If you're not actually getting the type of conversions that you're looking for, it's got to be one of these 3. And it might be more than one of these 3. And that gives you a place to work on. So I hope that's really helpful. The next is the formula for change. And when I look at the formula for change, this is one of my favorite formulas from Action Coach. And what it means is your dissatisfaction times your vision plus your first steps. It has to be greater than your resistance. Because here's the deal. No matter what we're doing in our life, whether we're quitting an old habit, starting a new habit, making a buying decision, or if we're going to sell something, we go through this formula. Anytime there's change in any part of your life or anybody's life, we go through this formula and we don't even know it. So we want to make sure that we're using this in a sales situation. And how would you do that? So the one thing that you have to remember is that when you have a client coming to you, it's because they have a want or need, and they're looking to you to fill that. So it's your job to help them make that decision. And this is how you do it. So if they have a want, it's about improving their life, and you're there to make their life better. And how are you going to do that? And if it's a need, it's a problem, and you're the problem solver. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your sales. So how do you actually increase dissatisfaction? I mean, it sounds kind of icky and uncomfortable. Why would I want to increase someone's dissatisfaction? Well, here's the thing. If they're not dissatisfied enough, they're not going to ever make a change. So I want to talk about, going and buying a new car. So I know most people have bought a new car. And what happens when you step out on the car lot? What is the first thing the salesperson wants you to do? No, it's not buy the car. There's steps before that. So when we look at what is the first thing they actually want you to do, they want you to get in the car and they want you to drive it. And what is happening when you're driving that new car? Your dissatisfaction is going sky high because you're thinking of your old car and how much you don't like your old car because there's a reason you're at a car lot, okay? So your dissatisfaction on your old car is going way up. Also, at the exact same time, what is going on is your vision is being increased of what it would be like if you owned this new car. So in the same moment, they're increasing your dissatisfaction and your vision. So that's brilliant. It's awesome. And that's why that's the thing that they want you to do, because it really helps you vision and dissatisfaction. It just pumps it right up. So you've gone through that, you get out of the car, and what is the first thing that the salesperson says now? Because sometimes we don't know what to do next. The salesperson on the car lot says, I know. You're not ready to buy a car today, but let's just sit down and talk about some numbers so when you are ready, you know what to expect. Okay? It's a simple first step. 2 hours later, you walk out of there with that car. Yeah. So they work the formula really well. So you want to be doing that as well. I actually had this experience with a little different twist just a couple of years ago when I bought my new vehicle. And I am not very good to be sold to. I'm not very open to that, especially buying a car. Totally not my favorite thing to do. So anyway, we were ready to buy a car. Well, my husband was ready to buy a new vehicle. And, you know, my dissatisfaction, the D there was really, really high because the car that I was driving, I hated it. It was a new car when I bought it. I hated it. It was this red Dodge Caravan. It had the dent in the back corner of the bumper. I think that came standard. But it was always breaking down. There was always something wrong with it. I never liked it. So I had a lot of dissatisfaction, but I had zero vision of what that would look like to get a new vehicle, because I've already feel like, well, the last time I did this, I wasn't happy anyway, so I might as well be unhappy with what I already have. So I didn't really have any vision. So we go to look at these cars. And so I really feel sorry for the kid that was helping us. He must have been about 23 years old. And I'm standing on the car lot, and you got to picture this now. I got my arms crossed and I'm tapping my foot. So there's no way anyone's going to sell anything to me. So this kid is trying to get us in the car. So my husband, you know, is the nice guy and, you know, gets me in the car and we test drive it and this and that. And, you know, I kind of knew what I wanted. And, but I didn't really want to buy it because I didn't have a vision. And then we get out of the car, and this kid did a really good job because he didn't say, why don't we go look at some numbers? He didn't do that. You know what he said? He said, how about we take yours for a test drive and I can tell you what we're going to give you for a trade-in. And I went, holy crap, okay, that would be good to know, right? So they went and took it for a test drive, and I'm going, oh, I hope it doesn't break down when they're driving it. Because it was a piece of crap. And anyway, so then looking at that, they come back and then they tell me that they're going to give me more for that in a trade-in than what the repairs were going to be, because I've already done the research on it. And you know what I'm going? I'm going, crud. Oh, I can't believe this. I purposely left my driver's license at home so I couldn't buy a car today because I wasn't going to be sold. That's how high my resistance was. So their first step was to take your old vehicle on a test drive. So I want you guys to learn how to work this formula. I did buy the car. I had to come back the next day to do it. So awesome. So I want you to work this formula, and I want you guys to remember D times V. If any one of those is a 0, nothing's going to happen. And you got to make sure you got some simple first steps, because if it's too hard to buy from you, guess what? They're going to find somebody else that's easy to buy from. So make sure you look at those two things. So you've gotten a lot of information today. So you were at a certain status quo. You've got your new information. Once you get off this webinar, you're going to go and start implementing it, okay? And what's going to happen? Chaos. And at this moment, you have a choice. You have a choice to turn around and go back to your old status quo. Or you can push through your chaos, make some adjustments, and get to a new status quo. And that is how you guys change your business. Whether you want to grow it to be larger or you just want a better quality of life, that's what you got to do, is push through the chaos, make some adjustments, and get to the next status quo. So I'm Tracy Ford, and I hope you got a lot of great information about this. And we'll see, we'll take questions now. So I hope you enjoyed the new information.
Yeah, and thank you, Tracy. That was fantastic. And this is Tracy's first time doing a webinar. You would not know it because she did it like a pro. And Tracy, I think you should probably consider doing a podcast because you have a great voice for this too. We do have one question. It said, NPO working women seeking career opportunities, CPTP, CPTR. How do we reach them? The unemployed and underemployed, low income. So I think that's the meat part of what we want to answer. How do you reach folks that are unemployed or underemployed and low income? And so I'll take a stab first, and Tracy, feel free to fill in. But when you're trying to reach folks that might not be in front of a computer, the mobile world is more important than ever. And it seems like no matter where we are in our lives, most folks have some sort of a phone or a device that they can be reached on. So you may want to consider a Facebook campaign, something that people can use even if they have like a low or a paid monthly kind of free account, or reaching out to them via other methods. You know, certainly if you're looking for folks that are unemployed, reaching out with the job placement agencies and some of the public service agencies out there. BusyWeb has worked a number of times with the Washington County Workforce Center, for example, and with job repurposing or repositioning agencies in order to reach out. And a friend of mine, Jim Bear, runs an organization called You Can Get Hired. And so those types of organizations and people would be great referral partners for you to get in front of those people. I wouldn't give up on the online stuff totally because, again, you probably have some sort of an internet device. And if not, if you're hunting for jobs, you can get to the library and look at any website out there for as long as you want. And having a free Gmail account is relatively easy to do. So I wouldn't shut the door and think that your marketing is going to fall on deaf ears just because folks might not have a job or because they might be in transition. And as a matter of fact, you can reach out and market directly to people that are in transition or that have just changed their job status on either LinkedIn or Facebook and Google+. And so, reaching out to those folks would be, that would be one of the easiest ways to reach out there. Tracy, anything to add?
I completely agree with Dave. When we look at marketing, we want to look at reaching those people where they hang out in the highest concentrations. And like Dave said, even if they're unemployed, they're on the computer because that's how you find a new job nowadays. So make sure that you're still doing those things and find other organizations that are working with those people so that you have an in with them.
Excellent. If you do have any other questions, we'd love for you to send them our way. Again, you can send a note to BusyWeb you can just send a note to Dave@busyweb.com, and it's BIZZYWEB. Or you can submit a form through our support requests or through our contact us form, at busyweb.com/support or contact if you want additional questions or if you have things that you'd like to have us help you with offline. I think it's been a very productive hour and a half here, so thank you all very much for joining us. Unless we do have another question, I'm going to close down in just a moment here, so I'll talk another moment while I wait. Stop again to thank Tracy for her time and to encourage you all to connect with them. Tracy is about a mile from us in Champlin here. They're right across 169. So if you're familiar with 169 and 109th, that's actually right where Tracy and her team at Team Ford are with the Action Coach franchise here. And again, they're wonderful folks. They have great educational opportunities regularly. And so go to Business Coach MN if you haven't visited their site yet to check it out. I will say it's brilliantly designed because the Action Coach group here, Tracy's team, are clients of BusyWebs. And so we're so excited to have you with us. And again, thank you so much, Tracy, for your time today and for your continued partnership. Anything else you want to say?
Oh, I just want to thank you and the audience for having me over today.
Magnificent. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. Oh, it looks like we might have got one more in. Oh, looks like Debbie's going to be in touch about her personal business. And so we're looking forward to that, Debbie, and make sure to let us know which of us you'd like to have get a hold of you as well. But have a fantastic afternoon and a happy week. Enjoy the lovely weather in Minnesota if you're here. We do have a few folks that are out of state signing into this Twin West event, and would love to see you in person and on the web next time. Keep an eyeball out for that because we have a lot of opportunities for you to connect up with us. And again, remember about our cyberbullying event tomorrow at noon. And we're going to have a BCA agent in talking about how you can help protect your kids from cyberbullying. Again, I'm Dave Meyer with BusyWeb, and Tracy?
With Action Coach Metro North.
All right, so get a hold of us there, and we'd love to see you next time. Remember, at BusyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a great week.